Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu as-salam ala Sayyidina Muhammadin ali sahbihi sallam in salam ta'aleem wa tadhakkar wa tadhkir wa nafr intifa' wa lifada wa istifadah wal hath ala tamassuk bi kitab Allah sunnat rasulih sallallahu alayhi wa sallama wa du'a lil huda wa dilala ala al-khair ibtigha wajhi Allah wa mardati wa qurbi thawabi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanaka la ilma la illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alim al-hakim. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah. Last week we're on page 41 of the book of Imam Haddad's Sabil al-Dikar, The Lives of Man, and we got to the third life, the Barzakh. And we spent some time speaking about the Barzakh and the various things associated to the Barzakh, this interspace between this life and the next. And he's going to go now, after the next paragraph that we're going to read, he's going to go on to speak about what? The life in the grave, in and of itself. But because we're on the exact section of the book, page 41, where he says, when a Muslim dies and his death is confirmed, he has to be prepared for the grave. Thus he should be washed, shrouded, and prayed over, all of which must be done according to the prophetic sunnah. His relatives, neighbors, and friends must be informed, and also the people of salah, the people of goodness and virtue, in order what? So they can pray for him or her. So I said I wanted to take permission from the organizers to do something which we tend to do whenever we get the opportunity to do it. And it's to just give a quick demonstration as to how someone should be washed. So we did take permission, and like I said, any opportunity that I get to do this, I take the opportunity, because it's one of those abwab of fiqh, one of the chapters of fiqh that they tell you that irrespective of how many times you read it, you will never have comprehension of it until you actually apply it. And so here, when we demonstrate this, inshallah, we're going to just do a brief demonstration, because the actual course will take about 3 to 4 hours ordinarily. But we want people to actually see. So we'll bring certain... So a brother up from mashallah, the brothers to act as the deceased here, and allow people to actually see this process. And one thing, again, we were so honored in this regards, in that we were taught a very specific method in the valley of Hadramaut. And in the valley of Hadramaut, they will tell you what? They say that the best ghusl, the best purificatory bath you will ever take in your life is when you die. They spend an immense amount of time and detail with the deceased in preparing him or her for the chapter that we're on, the Barzakh. I.e., when you meet God, when you meet the angels, you are in the best, inshallah, of states. And so we'd taken from the book where Imam Haddad alluded to what? Our relationship with death, when he brought particular verses. So from the verses of the Quran are what? إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تُفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ فِإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ, which we explained when that came up in the lesson, didn't we? We said that the death, our relationship with death is what? Because look at what Allah is saying to you. إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي, again, describing what type of death, the relationship that man has with death. الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ, that you are in essence endeavoring to flee from this inevitable reality. As we took again, what did he say? أَقْرَبُ شَيْءٍ مِنَ الْغَيْبَ يُنْتَظَرُ. It's the closest thing from the unseen realm that awaits each and every single one of us. فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. In essence, death, the truth of death is what? You're running to it and it's running to you. That's the reality of maut. Right? And because Allah tells us again in another verse, أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يُدْرِكْكُمُ الْمَوْتُ وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. Wherever you will be, death is going to come to you. Right? No man, woman is going to escape death. وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. Even if you find yourself in your quote-unquote ivory towers or lofty towers. Right? But that's the relationship that we tend to have. And so, if that's the relationship that mankind has, our faith, which is not a morbid faith, right? Because we said that there's a focus on what? Reflections on death. Why? To take us to higher planes. We spoke about this 1 or 2 lessons ago. So from the things which will facilitate what? Your remembrance of death was what? What was the thing which we are encouraged to do as a practice? We see this in the practice of the companions. May Allah be pleased with each and every single one of them. We saw this in the practice likewise of the women folk who would visit on a weekly basis, the likes of Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha, the likes of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, who would visit on a regular basis their kith and kin in the graves, that we're called to frequent the graves for innaha tudhakkirukum al-akhirah. Okay? Frequent the graves, for verily it reminds you of the hereafter. So this is something we should enact as a practice, whether it's weekly or monthly. There should be a time where we spend time in the graves of the Muslims to remind us of this inevitable reality. Okay? Death, likewise, Allah refers to death in certain terms in the Quran. From amongst them is what? Hatta atanil yaqeen. Certainty. You know, people who didn't believe in angels are going to believe in angels on that time, at that moment. People that were remiss in that regards are going to be quote unquote woken up at that moment. And so yaqeen is what? You have absolute certainty now in what? La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alongside that though, which is what we're going to try and demonstrate for us today, is what? What will definitely give you a very sobering, and I would definitely say as someone that has had the blessings of doing this for a number of years, it's a very spiritual right, R-I-T-E. It's a very spiritual right. That you know, things, whatever issue you may be going through, whether it's financial or personal or the like, when you wash a dead body, all of the things tend to what? Be mitigated. It's not so much of an issue. And particularly if it's someone who you know. And so inshallah, we're going to La ilaha illallah Rasulullah, we're going to demonstrate this in just two. There's 4 chapters to this particular book which would get covered. We're going to just look at 2 of those. I.e., what do you do when someone passes away or is close to passing away? And then on passing, how do we wash the deceased? We're not going to do the shrouding, which is a dars in and of itself. Again, a very wonderful method to be taught how to actually shroud an individual. And it's at the shrouding that you see a lot of the barakah of the wash. At the shrouding you see, subhanAllah, the light on the countenance or the face of the Muslims, mashallah, at that point, when they've gone through that process. Okay? One of the things that we should know is as much as we've encouraged men and women to, once they do these courses or these demonstrations, to put yourself over to actually being from those who serve the community in washing, is that there's a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, لا يغسل أحدكم إلا المأمونون, that only the people of integrity or dignity wash your deceased. Okay, why do you think that was a particular stipulation by Al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Why should only the people of integrity and honor wash people who are deceased? It's that mashallah, that's a nice Sufi answer, isn't it? Sacred act and sending. We said that because you were late, but you will have a quote unquote intimacy with a potential stranger that you had never had during their life. So once a body, death is not a 9 to 5 thing. And sometimes people are in the mortuary, in the morgue for a period of time, in refrigeration or the like, before you get to actually wash them. So the body starts to break. And you'll be exposed to certain things which ordinarily in your life you would never be exposed to. So, because if you look at the reward, and that's why, mashallah, there's so many the hadith about the reward for washing the deceased and likewise interring someone in the grave, it's so profound. But look at what the Prophet says. Man ghassala mayyitan fakatama alayhi or fakatamahu. Right? Caveat. Whoever washes an individual, and if we're going to give a direct translation, and hides or veils his secret. Right? خَرَجَ كَيَوْمْ وَلِدَتْهُ أُمُّهُ. So the one who's the ghasil, the one who's washing, he will come out of that rite, R-I-T-E, like the day his mother gave birth to him. This is the ghasil, not the maghsul. That he will come out of that process sinless. So they say that, rewards, if you look at them, sometimes they're associated. There's a book that we call Qawl al-Mubin, which is what this book is based upon. It's a manual on how to wash the deceased. And the Mufti, Imam Bukayyir, he says that people are somewhat reticent or averse to being involved with this rite because of what I'm saying. You're going to have an intimacy with someone which ordinarily in life you would never have this type of intimacy with them, physical intimacy I'm talking about. But the Prophet gave the caveat in hadith, did he not? Man ghassala maytin fakatama alayhi. If you wash someone, but you have to maintain what? Maintain their privacy, maintain their dignity. Right? Then you get, quote unquote, the reward that stems from thereafter. Who washed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Sayyidina Ali, karramallahu wajhahu. Because he said that لا يغسل أحدكم غيري. Sorry, Sayyidina Ali said that the Prophet said about me that none of you wash me except for me, meaning Ali. But Sayyidina Ali, he had helpers. Al-Abbas, his two sons, Kuthum, Shaqran, a freed slave. But Sayyidina Ali was the one who was washing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the others were behind a satir, behind like a curtain, and they were passing whatever Sayyidina Ali needed to wash the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then likewise Sayyidina Ali, he washes the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam blindfolded. Why? Because in the same hadith where the Prophet asked Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhu to wash his blessed body, what did he say? وَمَنْ وَقَعَ بَصَرَهُ عَلَى عَوْرَةِ تُمِسَتْ عَيْنَاهُ. That whoever's gaze, eyesight falls upon my aura, things which are not permissible for us to look upon, they will lose their sight. They will go blind. So there's one thing that he's asking someone specifically to wash him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And likewise, even the helpers for further honoring the dignity of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that they were behind the satir, behind the curtain. And Imam Ali himself was what? Blindfolded whilst washing the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Okay? So those are just a few introductory words. Let's get down to quote-unquote business. Suhail, no offense to everyone else. We need someone who's not healthy like me. Yeah, head this side. What we'll do is straight away we'll cover you so that there's
You broke it.
Yeah. Tamam. And so prior when someone is passing away, if you've been around, I'm sure many of us have been around people who are close to passing away, one thing that you will find is it's a very overwhelming experience. When I say overwhelming, I mean painful. Okay? That the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that death is something, kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. As Allah says in the Quran, every single soul will taste death, experience death. Thumma ilayna turja'un, and unto us is their return. But when Sayyidina Fatima, may Allah be pleased with her, gazes upon her father, what does her father say? Inna lil maut sakarat. That truly death has an agony. And so when you're around someone, which you spoke about in a prior lesson, that people should be in a state of dhikr around the individual, and they should be audibly saying what? La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. And hope that that's the last thing that an individual says. La yamutuna ahadukum illa wa yuhsin dhan billah. That none of you pass away save he or she has a good opinion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you're supposed to be in a state of dhikr around the individual until like we spoke about last week, how the exiting of the soul takes place from the feet towards the hulqun, towards the throat. But Allah has decreed for this to be a very overwhelming experience, a very painful experience. But there's a rahmah in that, inshallah, that there's a tathir, like a purification, those last moments which takes place, inshallah, hopefully effacing sin. But it's important to be, quote-unquote, optimistic around the person, to be in a state of dhikr, to allow the person to hear. And we said it last week, Imam al-Haddad says if someone were to say La ilaha illallah, there's no need for them to say it again. All right, so it's not as if you have to you'll try to impose upon an individual to say it once more. Okay, once someone has passed away, we're going to. So the first thing you would do is you would close the eyes, and this was again the practice of the Prophet ﷺ. You close the eyes of the individual, and then you secure the mouth. Yeah, you secure the mouth shut. This is ordinarily done. A person will more than likely pass away. I'm going to keep this a bit looser. In a hospital, and mashallah, the hospitals are very facilitating in relation to moving the bed to face the Qibla and the like, and doing these things. And they tend to do these practices anyway. Or the person will pass away at home, which is a better situation because you have more control over the situation. But you would close the eyes, secure the jaw shut, and then you place something about 200 grams onto the stomach. Okay? Why do we do this? Again, this happened with one of the companions, Sayyidina Ma'rur, who when the Prophet ﷺ said that he was faced towards the Qibla, they closed his eyes and they placed what was a piece of iron on his stomach. He said, Kad asab al-fitra, that he has done something according to the fitrah, i.e. you did things according to the fitrah of how someone should pass away. The ulama go on to say that, some of them say that in iron there's a particular essence to it which stops what? Why do we place something on the stomach? Because once the body has now, once the person has passed away and decomposition starts, the stomach will start to what? Distend. So you want to keep the stomach from distending, so you put something of weight onto the stomach, like a small book or the like, or something like this. Yeah? You secured the mouth shut, close the eyes, and then every couple of hours or so, you would just loosen the joints, both at the elbows and at the knee. Okay? And you're doing this, why? To stop or to delay the onset of rigor mortis, stiffness setting onto the body. So you're going to loosen the joints at the elbows and the knee, and sometime. Again, alhamdulillah, Allah give Suhail a long life. No complications are going to, no one said Amīr to that, by the way. I don't know what's the, Luton, show some rahmah. Allah give Suhail a long life. Ameen, yeah, Ameen. That no complications, inshallah, are going to come in this demonstration because, alhamdulillah, he's all well and good. But, like I said, death is not a 9 to 5 thing. So if a body reaches you after spending 3 days in the morgue, rigor mortis has truly set in. Okay? Sometimes the eyes haven't been closed properly. Sometimes the mouth is ajar. And you have to just work with that situation as best as you can. But, for all intents and purposes, with no complications, secure the mouth, close the eyes, place something on the stomach, and every couple of hours, loosen the joints. Okay? In what we saw in Hadramaut, in that a practice is that we have to obviously move the body, but where we can mitigate the movement of the body, we're going to mitigate it. So what does that mean? Unless the family, for example, have any particular emotional attachment to the clothing, what they would do is they would remove the clothing from under an opaque cloth just by cutting them off. Okay? For those that are involved with that, obviously seek permission from the family, but we don't want to move the body where we don't need to move the body. Why? Because again, moving hastens what? Decomposition. And we want to try and slow that down. Okay? So imagine then, we've removed the clothing from the individual and they're covered in an opaque cloth. We said that their eyes secured, jaws secured, and loosening the joints. Okay? Then the body is then transferred to the washing suite. I think I said this to you before, I've washed bodies up and down the country. The best facility I've seen is here in Luton. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. It's really, I even know a mosque in London that asked for just a meeting with myself, and they were going to build like a ghusler. I told them to make sure you go and see Luton Central Mosque, what they have there. It's really a mashallah. It's an absolute A1 facility. And I've been to places where it's challenging in terms of the space that they have. So we're very blessed in this community to have what we have. So we've transferred our dear brother now to the washing suite. And then what you have to do is, you have to then, pre-COVID, the hospitals were better at removing things. And that's something, during COVID they wouldn't remove catheters, they wouldn't remove tracheotomies, during COVID they just wouldn't do that for whatever the reasons were. Pre-COVID they used to be better at doing that. Since COVID it's hit and miss. They don't seem to be as good as they were prior to COVID. So you would have to put your hand underneath and then do like a survey of the body to remove catheters, to remove incontinence pads, to remove the labels. If we have to do a tracheotomy once, we have to remove that as well. So you have to remove all of those impediments first and foremost, and that will be done underneath. Okay, what we will hopefully see, and I think it's one of the most important things that we'll see today, is from the moment someone passes away to the moment that they're shrouded and put in the ground, their dignity, their aura is covered at all times, alongside them having the quote-unquote best wash they will ever have in their lives. Okay? So you'd remove and check the body with all of those things. In Hadramaut, they make these wonderful cloth gloves, white cloth gloves with a strap that you place around your left hand, tends to be the one that comes into contact with the body. We, in terms of just being practical, would just get like cotton socks, which does exactly the same thing. Okay, so you'd apply a cotton sock to the hand that comes into contact with the body. Okay, what do they tend to use ordinarily in hospitals or even in most funeral sections of a mosque? They use the latex gloves. Okay, we prefer not to use those. Why? Again, latex, friction, heat, hastens decomposition. We want to try and again mitigate that. Likewise, in the majority of mosques, the ghusl area is made of a metal bed with a sinkhole at the base here. In Hadramaut, you wash in the houses, and they come with these wooden tables with just wooden slats. So when you're washing, the water is just going through the openings. Why wood? Again, natural substances are better for the deceased, no friction. Metal, when you're moving the body around, sadly, more friction. Even if it's marginal, it has an effect. Okay? And again, what I forgot to mention, which I think is an important thing to mention in terms of law, because inshallah, no doubt we are people of law, I say Islamic law, is that they say what? أَن تُعَامِلْ الْمَيِّتْ كَالْحَيِّ فَإِنَّهُ يَحِسُّ. You engage someone who's passed away as if he or she is alive, because they have full senses. Save that they can what? They cannot articulate. They know exactly who's washing them. Right? They know exactly what's being said. But Allah has rendered them impotent from movement and what? Articulation. So any type of vigorous behavior or vigorous action, he or she can feel it. Yeah, and we've heard, sadly, from people that have been there that it's problematic for people who don't know how to wash the deceased. They seem to think that the person now is like a car. So they would wash the person quite vigorously. One of our dear aunties told us about the head being washed, and there was no blood, but they were so vigorous that blood started seeping out of the ears. He or she is fully aware about who's washing them, right? And again, we are people of adab, and look at the adab of Islam. This is in the books of law. So this is in the books of spirituality. In law, you engage someone who's passed away as if he or she is alive, because they can sense. Okay? So, once you've removed all of the impediments, we do what's called a pre-wash. Okay? A pre-wash. I forgot to bring it with me. I do have some here. We bought a lot of a quantity from Hadramaut. There's a thing called Hutayka. Hutayka is like a coarse herbal soap. Okay, so again, one thing that we prefer doing based on the method that we were taught is what? Is to use large buckets, large buckets and jugs, as opposed to what? What's common in the mosques here? What's common in the mosques? Hose, shower hoses, isn't it? Yeah? Why do we prefer to use jugs and buckets? Because from prophetic instruction was to wash your deceased using sidr. Sidr is, again, it's a green natural powdered soap. So to use that, you need to make a solution, which you can do in a bucket, but you can't do with a hose, and you need to make like a soapy water solution. Okay, so in the pre-wash, we do what's called hutayka, and hutayka is like it's like a coarse herbal compound that again you make a solution, and then you wash the body front, back, and I will demonstrate the method when we get to the full wash. But just to say that there's a pre-wash. Okay, why do they use a coarse herbal compound? Why coarse? Imagine exfoliation. Yeah. So if there is any dried blood, dried waste matter, or the like, when you're rubbing, you're removing it. So when we get to the ghusl, inshallah, it's all according again to how sacred law should be followed. So they will do it like a pre-wash of herbal soap. If you don't have that, you can make a compound or use like an alternative, like an exfoliating soap. Yeah, you can use an exfoliating soap. Remember, the hand that ordinarily comes into contact with the body is the left hand, and the left hand is covered with a cotton sock. Okay, so you've removed any catheters, any incontinence pads, any impediments, and then you do a pre-wash, and the pre-wash is there for what? To remove any type of barrier that may exist on the skin. Blood, dried up blood, waste matter, you kind of like a plaster that you've missed or something. That's why you're doing the exfoliating wash beforehand. Okay? Once you've done that then, 2 volunteers. Inshallah. Not everyone at the same time, please. Don't all jump. No, I just need to say what we're going to be doing. I need 2 volunteers whilst I look for something. Bismillah. Just grab 1 or 2 each. Huh? Okay, so we did what? A pre-wash. Why do we do a pre-wash? To remove. And again, everything that we're going to do today is sound upon both the Hanafi school and the Shafi'i school. So I'll do it again. The Hanafi school and the Shafi'i school. And there's three discerning differences, which when we get to it, we'll explain. Okay, but outside of this, everything conforms to both schools. Okay. Once we've done the pre-wash, there will be someone at the head, someone at the hands. Come here, Dr. Paul. So how's the arm out? And then someone at the feet. Okay? The one at the... You're not allowed to talk. Yeah? The one at the head is going to have swabs. Okay? He'll be dipping the swabs into water, cleaning out the canth eye, the eyes, the ears, and the nose. Okay? So you take your swab, dip it in water, right eye, flip it, dip it in water, clean any type of waste matter from the left eye. Discard, dip it again, little finger into the right nostril, out, again, another one, left nostril, out, again swab, right ear, left ear. Whilst he's doing this, a brother is, come this side, so people can see, please, sorry. So, no, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to drink it. Whilst someone is at the head doing that, Doc here would be dipping cotton bud, taking his hand, and then cleaning the nails. Flipping it, dip, nails, so that his nails on the right hand and then move to the left hand. Hold that. Yeah. Same thing here. Rayyan would be doing what? Dipping, and then at the toenails, right and left. Okay? So, lot to remember. From when he passed away, he secured the mouth so that the stomach doesn't distend. Remove the clothes. He's covered the whole time with no plate cloth. When we bring him to the washing suite, we're going to what? Remove any type of what? Anything that's connected to the body, we're going to remove that first. Once we've done that, we do a pre-wash using what type of soap? Coarse soap. Why? Like an exfoliation, to make sure that all any type of waste matter or dried up matter is removed. Once we've done that, someone's at the head with swabs, and then there's someone at the hands with cotton buds, and at the feet with cotton buds. Okay, you with me? Right. Stay here if you don't mind. You two just over here for a little bit. Okay. This cloth is for demonstration. Okay, this cloth is for demonstration. The type of cloth that we need is like a bed sheet. So we have like packs ready, and there'll be like black bed sheets in there. Why? Because the cloth has to have two things. It has to be opaque, i.e., so it's not see-through, and also it has to be thin enough so the water penetrates. Okay? We used to send lists to people. So, I've got to go to Bolton to do a ghusl, so I send a list to the people, can you make sure you have these things? And you'd get there, and rightly so, people are preoccupied with what they're preoccupied with. And so they've read, for example, a bed sheet that was white. Okay? Why is that no good? As soon as there'll be water on what? The body's now visible, isn't it? The flesh is now visible. Yeah? Or it would be too thick. So they'd make like a dark color bed sheet, but the water's not going to penetrate. Okay, so I'm using this for demonstration purposes. I would not use this in an actual ghusl because it's not fit for purpose. Okay, once we've done that, then we have to excavate the stomach. Right? How do we do that? Rub it. We want a refund from Rayhan, and never let him wash any of your deceased. Yeah, so I'm going to sit down, right? What they're going to do, I don't want you to help them because I want to know what it feels like to lift up, dead weight. You have to incline the body to about a 30-degree angle, okay? And so here, first point that differs with the Hanafis and the Shafi'is, okay? The Shafi'is say what? Imraran biligh, that you should vigorously press down on the stomach in a downward motion towards the abdomen. So once the body has been inclined to a 30-degree angle, someone's job is to make sure that bukhur should be burning throughout, particularly at this point. Okay, so particularly at this point, bukhur should be burning. Once Sahel has been inclined to a 30-degree angle, the Shafi'is say what? You should vigorously press down to the extent that, like I'm doing it like this. Yeah? The Hanafi say imrarun raqiq, just gently, almost like a gentle stroke. Okay, so that's one thing where there's a clear, quote-unquote, discernment between the Hanafi and the Shafi'i school. Right? Show the people how you do this then. So you don't help them. Are you helping them? How's his head standing up then? Has rigor mortis set in already? Is the jinns involved? Huh? Okay. So press down on the stomach. Huh? Oh, God knows what he is. All right. So you're pressing down across the stomach, yeah, towards the abdomen, right? We're burning bukhur at this point for obvious reasons, more so than we ordinarily would. Okay. Now you're returning back. Okay. Whilst we're still burning bukhur now, imagine our sinkhole being at this end. Now we're going to access or wash the sensitive area. Okay. So again, there's about 3 to 5 people involved with the ghusl ordinarily. Sometimes there's 3 or more helping, and someone is organizing the coffin, the shrouds. Sometimes all 5 are involved. Some are maybe just filling up the water buckets, passing and the like. What we do here is we apply a sock, cotton sock for our purposes. We've got our soapy solution with sidr. We soap up the hand. We go under the cloth and then cleanse the private area. Someone's burning the bukhur. Someone is next to the washer who has a bag here, that when he's washed and he comes out, he just discards the sock straight into the disposal bag. Okay? Another sock, apply soapy water. Under the cloth you go, cleanse the sensitive area thoroughly, discard the sock. Right? How many times, sisters, do we do that? How many times do we have to do that? 3. Are you saying 3? Okay. Brothers, how many times do we have to wash the sensitive area? 7. MashaAllah. Generosity. Huh? You have to wash the area a bare minimum of 3, but to the extent that you feel it's clean. Okay? One way of knowing that is what? Whilst we're washing the area, because why are we so thorough here? We're not going back there again. Okay? So we wash the area thoroughly, and then if we assume our sinkhole is where Suhail's feet is, people are jetting water down. And the coloration or discoloration of the water is an indication of when that what? Is clean. Okay? And then also, what we would do is, we would just bend the knee to get access to the posterior as well. All right? And again, you're going to do this as thoroughly as you can, because you're not going to go back there again. How you'd assume you'd clean or cleanse your own selves in this situation. Okay? Right. Once we've done that, actually, recap. So not from when he passed away, when we brought him to the washing suite. What's the first thing we do, brothers? Okay, so remove any impediments. Yeah? Catheters, tracheotomy, whatever those things are. Okay? Sisters, what's the second thing we do? Sorry? Pre-wash. Yeah, pre-wash. Why do we do a pre-wash? We'll come to that. Every single time we get asked about fake nails. I don't do it myself, but we'll come to that. But it's a good question because it comes up every time we do this, right? Why do we do the pre-wash? Exactly. To be extra certain that any type of impediments have been removed, okay? What do we do after the pre-wash, brothers? Abdul Qadir, what do we do after the pre-wash? Abdul Qadir, because he's filming, he never has to answer anything. Very good, very good. Okay, 3 people, one at the head, one at the hands, one at the feet, eyes, nostrils, ears, nails at the right, nails at the base of the body as well. Okay? Now what do we do? $30. Is that like a pop group? Yeah? You incline the individual's torso to a 30-degree angle and then you would excavate the stomach. Yes? Okay. What's important to do, sisters, at this point? Burn bukhur, burn bukhur. Now we've done that, we do what? We clean the sensitive areas, both front and rear. How do you know ordinarily that the area has been cleansed? Discoloration, the clarity of the water that's happening. Okay, what do we do now? What I will say to you again is that the average, on my experience of asking, because I inquired about this, the average wash, ghusl, that people tend to do in the UK for some of this past is about 30 minutes. Yeah, it's about 30 minutes on average. Okay, I'll come to you in a minute. Do we recite dhikr or Quran or the like during this process? You Sufi Lutanites. Yeah? You do not. And when I say you do not, the books of law say you don't. Why? We're coming into contact with impurities, we're coming into contact with things, so it's not a time of what? You can inwardly say some dhikr. The only dhikr that's articulated is when we conclude the wudu, like you would ordinarily make the dua for wudu as well. And then the books of law say you can even repeat the supplication of the conclusion of wudu at the conclusion of the ghusl. But ordinarily we don't recite dhikr or the like because we're coming into contact with things, again, like I said, which we wouldn't ordinarily come into contact with, hence we don't do that. Did you have your hand up? Sorry. Yeah, so when we do the pre-wash, you do all of that. I didn't demonstrate it because I want to wait to get to the actual ghusl and then we'll demonstrate it. Okay? So once you've cleansed the private areas, now you perform wudu on behalf of the deceased. Okay? Nawaitu al-wudu anil mayyit. I intend to perform the wudu on behalf of the deceased. You do everything you would ordinarily do. When I say everything, everything. Apart from, again, there's a difference here between the Hanafis. So first difference between the Hanafis and the Shafi'is is what? The vigor at which you rub the stomach. Second difference is here. The Hanafis said in this, when you do the wudu for the deceased, there's no madmada or istinshaq. You don't rinse the mouth or nose out for obvious reasons. Okay? For the Shafi'is, you do it, but like with everything, people have to know what they're doing. So if it's your first time, don't attempt to do this. Allow someone to show you how to do this. Right? So you would, someone is here, Rayan, come here. So first thing, obviously, is to wash and do takhleel off. So he's pouring the water, because I can't do both, can I? Yeah? So he's pouring water, going to follow my hand, washing the hands. Right? This is the right hand, yeah? Am I using my right hand? For the wudu, yes. For the wudu, there's no issue with what, there being a glove or not when making wudu. Yeah? So wash the right hand, wash the left hand. Now, how do they do madmada and istinshaq? Okay? Madmada and istinshaq, i.e. rinsing the mouth out and rinsing the nose out, the definition is that for water to enter and exit. Okay? So what they would do is, for the mouth, you tilt the face to the side, slightly open the mouth, allow a trickle of water for the asl of the sunnah to enter into the mouth, and then you see my thumb here, you do like this, and the water expels. Okay? You don't open his mouth like this, and, yeah? I laugh because that's happened. Or you laugh because that's happened. So you tilt the face to the side, slightly allow the mouth to open ajar, allow some water to trickle in, and then with your thumb, when you do this, the water trickles out. Okay? If you're Hanafi, do you do it? No. Okay? Likewise, we said what? Istinshaq, the sunnah of istinshaq is what? For water to enter and then to come out. So again, water cupped in my palm, just allow it to enter and it's naturally going to what? It's naturally going to fall out. Okay? I.e. again, we want to do everything we can to honor the deceased. Every sunnah we can enact. Even to the enact, there's the khirqa, they will have like a short, small, what do you call this? Piece of cloth with a rough edge. They'll open the mouth and even do the siwak. Yeah? Which we probably don't do when we make wudu. As an act within the wudu. Okay, so they will do every single thing to again honor this person. So, wash his hands, madmala istinshaq, rinse the mouth and nose out. Yeah. Again, from. Do you have to? Like if I rinse the mouth and nose and then wash the hands. The condition is with the fard limbs. For the fard limbs, yeah. So for the obligatory limbs, i.e., face, arms, head, and feet, the order is binding, right? For the sunnahs, it's sunnah. For the Hanafis, you can do it in opposite, and it would be valid, wouldn't it? Yeah. So again, in terms of oh yes. In terms of the actuality of it, yeah. Well, okay, so I don't know if you had a question. This is asking in relation to the schools. So, for example, I'm Shafi'i, so hell, God knows what he is. We're going to assume he's Hanafi. Okay, so should I wash him according to his school, or because I'm the washer, should I wash according to my school? The simple answer to that is, I would say, of the 90% plus people that I've washed for the past 15 years, they were Hanafi. No one ever asked me what school I belonged to. They just want to know that the deceased is in safe hands. I'm telling you as a student that these are the differences. Okay? For me, I want someone to wash me that's qualified. I have no interest in which school they follow, but as a practice of knowledge, it's important for us to know what the differences are. In the practice of validity, it has no bearing. I.e., if I was to wash Suhail, as I've done for bodies up and down the country, there's no bearing on the validity of the wash. So I got, if you wash the mouth and nose, what was the conclusion? So it comes back again to the same thing, qualification. I said to you momentarily ago, even as someone who studied this, like when I went to wash the deceased, how would they teach me? Allah bless our teacher, Shaykh Saeed. We just watch the first time. That's it. Second time we pass the water. Third time we'd maybe allowed to do the wudu, or parts of the wudu. The whole time, mashallah, actually, it's like a lesson. They say, okay, look, if the body was burned, what would happen? It's like a lesson whilst you're in real time practice. So to me, it's about the qualification of someone. I.e., if someone had studied this in terms of in a book sense and not had practice, I wouldn't advise them to rinse the mouth out or nose bidei Shafi or Hanafi. I don't like, for example, when I would do the wudu, I was allowed to do part of the wudu. That part they wouldn't let me do until 5, 6, 7 plus washes. When you've actually washed someone, then under their tutelage, you're going to do something like that. But yeah, so it doesn't. The first part, it doesn't matter what the madhab of the person is washing or the washed, as long as it's a valid wash. If I was to, for example, in this situation, rinse Suhail's mouth and nose out, it's not something that's practiced by the Hanafis, but I don't think the Hanafis says it's invalid if someone were to do that. These are like nuances to the wash, aren't they? Where there is a like a clear quote unquote no-go zone, is that in our school, a husband can washes are gender specific. Men wash men, women wash women. In the Shafi'i school, a husband can wash a wife and a wife can wash a husband. And they say that based on what? When Sayyidina Fatima was close to passing away, she had the request that Sayyidina Ali would wash her, as well as Asma bint Umays. And when Sayyidina Abu Bakr passed away, his wife washed him. So there's premises in both. For the Hanafis, they say what? A woman can wash the husband because of the iddah period, but the husband cannot wash a wife. So here there's a non-negotiable here, based on the differences of the schools. The other things are almost nuances to the wash, i.e., how do you measure the vigor of someone excavating their stomach or not? It's nuanced, isn't it? But even with that, the school says it's always better to be gender specific. Men wash men, women wash women. But the validity, a husband can wash a wife and a wife can wash a husband in the Shafi'i school. Where are we? Wudu. Okay? So in terms of practice, again, washing the face, you tilt the face to allow the water to trail off. Okay? Again, so wash the face, arms, again. What was the practice of Sayyidina Abu Huraira on the wudu? Based on italat al-ghurra, i.e. when the Prophet said that will be known by what? The ghurr al-muhajjalin, the luminosity of the wudu. Exactly, yes. So Sayyidina Abu Huraira would wash up into the shoulder and just up until the base of the knee. Okay, because he wanted that light to be manifest on the Day of Judgment, right? People can practice this when they're easy, when you're having a shower, for example, to do that sunnah. But here again, we're gonna wash and do the best that we can by the individual. So thrice on the arm, and then wipe the head, ears again. What are the methods of cleaning the ears? So fingers into the crevices, and then the thumbs come back. So again, thrice that, and there's a thing called istishhaf, which is a sunnah, which is what? Water, and just 3 times as well, right? So we're taking our time again. Why? We want this to be the best situation for the person that's passed away. And again, washing the feet up until here, so then you perform the wudu. And this is where, in answer to your question, is the one time where we would say a dhikr or a supplication, the same dhikr, Allahumma jalna min at-tawabin, that we all know, except you change it, Allahumma jalhu min at-tawabin, i.e. you amend the supplication to reference who you're doing it for. Because you're not making wudu, are you? So Allahumma jalni min at-tawabin, Allahumma jalhu, or ha, depending on who's being washed. You just amend the dua for the person that's being washed. Okay? All of this takes about an hour or so. Right? So to do this in real time, all the things that we just mentioned, takes over an hour easily to do this. Right? Now that we've done all of this, now we're ready to wash the deceased. Okay? How many times should you wash someone who has passed away? Once? In terms of validity, yes. In terms of validity, in terms of how many times was the Prophet ﷺ washed? 3. He asked to be washed from the well of Ghars, which was a specific well from the water of the well of Ghars. The first one was a wash with sidr, soapy solution, natural soapy solution. The second wash was what's known as mal qarar, like clean water. And then the third wash was water admixed with what's called kafur. And there's a benefit to washing with kafur, which we'll mention to you when we conclude the wash. Okay? So the Prophet was washed how many times? 3. But when his daughter was washed, and he advised them how to wash, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He goes, wash 3 or 5 or 7 or akthar. Okay, 3, 5, 7 or more so, but let the last one be water admixed with camphor. So you have the premise there of the prophetic wash, which was 3, and to do more than that in odd numbers. Okay, what I will say again, in real life, it depends how much time you have. Person, you're waiting at the mosque for the body to come, he or she has not arrived yet, or you get there to do the ghusl, and now there's 2 bodies there. And they both have to be done because they want to do the janazah after dhuhr, after Jummah or the like, so it's just a practical thing. Okay? In perfect circumstances, what we tend to do is 5. Okay? So in ordinary circumstances, we tend to do 5 washes. And again, how can you do them? You can do sidr, admixed with water, clean water, sidr, clean water, last one with water and camphor. Yeah? Or you can do 2 sidr washes, 2 soap washes, 2 water washes, and then the last one, water with camphor. I prefer the second method because once you've done 2 soap washes followed by 2 clear washes, you're really fully removing any type of remnant of the soap. Okay? But there's different methods and they speak about the validity of all of them. Is that clear? Alright, okay. You two, can you come up please? I'll just take this off. Okay, so like I said, you need at least 3 people to help do the wash, right? How do you wash? It's going to be head, front and back, right shoulder to the arm, back down again, right front, left shoulder to the arm underneath, left front, and then right back, left back. Okay? Why am I making mention of that? The sunnah of you making a ghusl is different. You do what? Front right, back right. Front left, back left. When you wash someone who's passed away, front right, front left, not back right. Why? Say it. Exactly. We want to limit the movement, don't we? We don't want to keep moving the person back and forth. Hastens decomposition, which we want to try and mitigate. Okay? So again, what would happen is, my brother is here. He might be filling up the water buckets, passing him the jugs. I've got cotton sock on my left hand. Again, when I wash the face, I tilt the face. Why? Because we don't want water going into any open orifice. So we tilt the face. This now has a soapy solution made with what? Sidr. It's like a green powder. You can get it in the UK, although we had ours from elsewhere, but you can get it. It's available in the UK. This is a soapy, quote-unquote, light green solution, and he now just follows my hand. Okay? So he's pouring, right? And I'm washing first the head to the back, ears and the like. Then washing the arm, I can lift this outside, come back underneath. Yeah? Then what I would do is, imagine this to be what? Penetrable cloth. So that when he's following where my hand is, we're just washing and following it all the way down. Do I clean the sensitive area? We did that thoroughly. Yeah? We're not going back there again. Okay? Go all the way down. Again, he's following my hand, feet, and then I come back again up until the posterior here. Yeah? And I'll tell you why, because we're going to alternate. Same thing on the other side. Okay, same thing on the other side. So we're going to wash. He's going to follow it. Arm raised up, underneath. I'm not going around it just so you can see, because if I come around it, you can't see. My hand is underneath the cloth, all the way down, lifting his leg up, washing underneath. Okay? How do we get access now to the right? Back. If you two both come around this side, please. Okay. Actually, come around this side because they can't see. Left hand under the neck. Right hand, you see wait here. Right hand on the shoulder. Left ankle over the right ankle. Right hand here, stand over there. That's it. Right hand here. Left hand on his hip, securing the arm. Okay. Obviously, we're showing. We will do the other way because I want to get access to the right, don't I? But just so you can see from here. Okay. Then we always have to make sure again that this is draped long enough because they're going to now what? Turn him towards themselves, aren't they? They're going to pull him towards them. Once they pull him, we want to make sure that again his honor is always maintained. Okay. So when I'm ready, Bismillah, pull towards you. Okay. And then again, someone may be helping me here with the jug, and I'm going to wash down here until I get past the posterior again. Because when he's done, I washed up the back of the leg here, so I just need to get past here. Once I've got past here, then they would put him back down, and then we just swap. Okay, so just swap, just so it doesn't matter if you can see or not because they saw it that way. All right, so you tell me now if I don't say anything, what you're doing. Under the neck, yep. Left hand is where? On the shoulder, yourself? Which way are you pulling him? So therefore, how should the ankles be? Swap them now, because look, that's right, yeah. Okay, so always remember, people always forget to do this, to not change the ankles. Okay, which will be uncomfortable for the person if you're going to pull him and his legs are the other way around. So your left hand is on the ankle. Your right hand is where? On the hip, but you have to secure his what? Secure his arm. Okay, then when I'm ready, I say Bismillah, turn. And it's the same thing again. To get access to the posterior, once I've gone past the posterior, they can now put him back down again. Okay, put the leg back. Okay, that's now one wash. Okay, one wash. My preference is to do what? Stay here. My preference is to do what? Another wash with sidr. So we do the same process again with sidr, and then that's going to be 2. We do another 2 washes, but now with clean water. So it's the same thing. Sorry, every wash you use a glove or a sock per wash. So when I did the first one, and we did the first one, I will discard of this and now apply another one on. Okay, and then we do the same process with sidr, 2 more with clean water. The last wash, what do we add? Count 4. Why? Again, sunnah. The Prophet first and foremost saying add or admix, and even there's a hadith where he said add camphor to all of the washes. Okay, what's the benefit of camphor? It's threefold if I can remember. One is the fragrance. It gives a fragrance. Secondly, yashudd al-badan. It tightens the body. So again, delays what? Decomposition. And thirdly, when a person is interred into the grave, it repels vermin coming towards them. So again, it's honoring the body. Okay, so the last wash, we would have what? Camphor. Okay, so now you two, show me a full wash. Well, sorry? You tell me, do you need something to lift him? I was asking. Huh? From just a wash, a full wash. What's the first thing we do? Come around this side so people can see. No heckling. All right, no heckling, especially you. Okay. What is the first thing? Put your hand up if you know what you have to do. The first thing is wudu, not wuzu. Yeah. There's no wuzu in our classes, right? Wuzu, leave wuzu in Rawalpindi. Who knows what's the first thing we do is what? Sorry? I honestly can't hear you, sister, forgive me. From the beginning. What? So look, not from the whole bringing. I just want to know, what is a wash? I told you, I gave you a method of how to do the wash. What is a wash? What do you start off doing with? Head. Okay. How do you wash the head then? Bismillah. So exactly it. So we imagine on his hand there's a glove. Okay. Get our dear brother to help you pour. And now Act out for us washing the head. Good. Yeah. And then you get to, obviously to the... Exactly, yeah. Right? So if that hand's already there, it might be easier for you to just... Yeah, to the back and like the ears and everything. You've washed the head, yeah? And that was good because he tilted the head to the side. Okay? Now? Yeah. No, after a complete wash, then we remove the sock or the glove. So yeah, follow. Okay, go on. No. Not yet, no. So after you've washed that right shoulder to the arm, top, back, and under the armpit, what do you do? Right side, yeah. So then you're following his hand with the pouring, right? Someone, like I said, is with a jug, passing, or make sure the jug's always filled with water and have the soapy solution in there. And then he's going to go all the way down. Yeah, you can move his hand underneath. So put the cloth, oh, that's right, put his hand in, no, meaning put his hand, that's it, yeah. Okay, then you're going to wash all the way down. All the way down, all the way down. Yep, underneath, up until where? Up until there. Okay, put that down now. So Hell's saying, stop, please. Don't go any further. Okay, then. Show. Was that a bit rough to Hell? I thought. Okay.
Is he allowed to just drop my arm? Like
No, you're allowed to complain actually.
Yeah.
The Salihin can hear the dead, isn't it? So.
And he just put my neck back the other way.
I did see that, but I know. There's a beef between you two. Okay, go on. Yep. All the way down to make sure, yeah, good. Okay, go on, carry on. Good. All the way down. Left front, that's very good. All the way down to the feet. Say that again, sorry? No. So what would you do? You could just look. If I'm here, yeah, and I can just what? Isn't it? We're also going to make sure that his aura is covered. Yeah. Go all the way down, and then you lift. Okay, perfect. To get two more new people, I want you to show me how you alternate the body. And then inshallah we're done. One more, grab someone else. Qar. Okay, so just so people can see, although you're right to be on that side, how do you alternate, how do you bring the body now to get access to the back side? What would you do? Couple of minutes. Yes, we're done. Okay, so what you can do here is move the arm out. Okay, so good. You see that the foot's right. He got the right ankle across there. Yes, under the neck, on the shoulder. And then when the washer is ready, then Bismillah, turn. And then he would just wash like we demonstrated. And it's the same the other way around. Okay? That's it. That's fine. That's all. I just wanted to see we've got that. Okay. Like I said, time takes what? That you would, if you have a team of people, and you're blessed to have another area for the kafan, whilst people are doing the wash, people would be sorting the shrouds out. That's a lesson in of itself that we don't have time to do. Maybe we'll do it on another occasion. But what I wanted to just make sure people are clear of is, again, to see, it's different, isn't it, when you see it as opposed to read it in a book. We actually see how to wash someone that's passed away. Okay. Our dear sister asked the question, what about fake nails or whatever, like a ring that's stuck, or what do you do? Don't play all pious today, all right? So I mean, first off, don't wear fake nails. But this was like new to me. When I say it was new to me, you can see my age. So back in the 90s, there was just like these pop-on things that women used to put that could just pop off. Okay, now they're almost fused onto the nail. From what I understand, it's a process. If someone has passed away, la qadar Allah, and they have, we're taking this as an example, right? The fake nails that are fused onto your natural nails. Okay, the premise in fiqh is what? You remove something to the extent that it doesn't harm the individual. So say, whether it's a fake nail, whether it's like, say some type of like industrial paint is on this person, and I've done my best to what? Remove it. I'm not compelled now to go beyond something that would remove that. If this person was alive, it would cause them what? Pain. Yeah, I don't have to take like a scouring pad and now start to get rid of the paint. It's called ma'fu. It's excused in that circumstance, right? So again, obviously limited understanding with the nails, they have to go to someone like a professional to actually remove those things. You're not bound to do that in this situation, okay? And we hope that it's ma'fu. So someone be wearing that stuff, obviously it's not necessarily, wallahu a'lam, I don't know whether I'll remain silent on that one. I want to go home and not have my tires slashed. Okay? Another time I think we should speak about, which is important, is post-mortems. Okay? That it's very upsetting to see a loved one come and their sternum has been cracked open with some type of Frankenstein stitching to put and if they again have to crack open the cranium and the leg, it's quite disturbing for us. And remember what we said, that they can actually sense, a human being can sense what's taking place. That's another lesson in relation to how people should, from my minimal conversations with people in Luton, there's a process they have in place to scan the body, which ascertains, I think, 90% of the causes of death, which is very, very good. But it's very, very upsetting for people to see their beloved having been going through the invasive post-mortem process. And then there's a whole lesson about how you'd inter someone into their grave as well. The position, the shroud or burial life, which again, we don't really have time for that. That's, like I said, we do a course ordinarily on this, which takes about half a day to do. Okay? Is any question specific to what we've taken? One thing I can't answer for our dear sisters is the different nuances of washing a woman in terms of the hair and whatnot, because obviously I've never done that. What else came to my mind just now? Something else came to my mind. La ilaha illallah. Yeah, and there's a different shrouding process in terms of material for women as well, in contrast to men. Yes. I can't hear you. Yeah. That's a good question. Because that would be addressed when we do the shrouding. So, question, can you put, for example, honorific writings or verses of the Quran once you're shrouding for barakah with the deceased, for blessings? No. Okay? What you can do is what our dear sister said. A practice in the Blessed Valley is what? To get some itr and to write, for example, La ilaha illallah across the chest, because it's going to what? Dissipate, evaporate, okay? Why can you not put honorific writings of the like with someone who's passed away in the shroud for blessings? What's going to happen to the body over time when it's interred? Decompose. What comprises the body? Blood, waste matter and the like. So now Quran is going to be admixed with what? Impurities, which it's not permissible to do that. So you're not allowed to put that type of honorific writings or the like in with the deceased. But as a practice, what they would do, again, we're not doing the shroud, it's a lesson in and of itself. You apply itr to the forehead, so the places, the positions of sajda, i.e. forehead, knees, palms of the hand, balls of the feet, and they would write La ilaha illallah across the chest in itr, in fragrance, like natural oil perfume, not no, in natural oil perfume, inshallah. Okay, but what we don't do is we don't place honorific writings in with the shroud, although I understand the emotion behind that and the intention behind that. But what we're actually doing then is, because when the body fully decomposes and what's inside becomes outside, it's now going to be mixed with what? Quran. So you can't place the Quran on things which you know are going to be what? Impure. Is that okay? Tayyib. Any other questions? Bismillah. Yeah. Yeah, so when someone is, Allah bless you, I forgot to say that. If someone is close to passing away, what they say is that you should position the person towards the Qibla. So if we assume for our purposes right now, the Qibla's in that direction, if I'm able to, without it being arduous for the deceased, I would prop up the deceased or the person close to death with some cushion, so his chest is what? Facing the Qibla. Okay? In my experience, it's always been an overwhelming experience to remove the person too much because they're in pain and the like. So the position that you place them in is the feet towards the Qibla and the head raised facing the Qibla with cushions and the like. And that's the same both in the Hanafi and the Shafi'i school. Yeah. So if we assume that for our purposes, what? The Qibla would be where? In that direction, and we would just raise the person up slightly towards the Qibla. Right? And so what I mentioned was that hospitals, again, you know, the beds, they're very, very facilitating for religious rites and practices to do those types of things where they can accommodate. And likewise, again, you're restricted to space ordinarily in the washing suite, but if I can likewise place the person towards the Qibla whilst I'm washing, likewise that's a sunnah as well. Is your hand up? Tayyib, jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.